What are you looking at, motherfucker? Easy, I don't give a fuck what you think, Jerry. This was all just a bit, like when Bugs Bunny fucks with the opera singer for 20 minutes. Fuck me, pal. Fuck you. No. Fuck me. Oh, shit, motherfucker! My new catchphrase is, I don't give a fuck!
Hate you no matter what.
Yeah, well, I'd hate you even if I didn't hate you.
Patrick, can you shut the fuck up?
What's up, all you beautiful motherfuckers? It's Thommy Nekro, the Solomon, one half of Disposable Records, and I'm here to answer more of your motherfucking questions. We're not even doing a smoke break today. I'm gonna rip right through it. Fuck it, I'm all business today, baby. All motherfucking business. Alright, first question comes from Noah Manning. He says, does being a Houston artist limit you or put you in a box? Or do you feel as a Houston artist that you have just as much of an opportunity as an artist from anywhere else? Great question, Noah. I don't feel like being a Houston artist limits me. If anything, I feel like it gives me access to a few other outlets that maybe rappers from other regions don't have because of our different culture. Because of screw culture, because of trap culture and dirty South culture, I am able to, make music that caters towards that life, as well as being able to cater to music that caters to horrorcore fans. So I can make horror music and I can make southern music. I don't feel like being a Houston artist limits me at all. If anything, it also makes it easier for me with my rock music stuff, because there's so many great artists and bands that came from Texas and came from Houston specifically. I don't feel like any of them were limited by where they were from. Houston has always been a haven for great music, from blues to jazz to hip-hop to metal to industrial to goth to EDM. Houston has always had, really solid quality artistry. I don't feel like I'm limited by being a Houstonian at all. But that's a great question, and I thank you for asking me. Next one comes from Havoc the Rapper out of Colorado. What's up, Havoc? He asks, when are you coming back to Colorado, and do you have any future tour plans? Honestly, I'm laying low till this COVID shit's over with. I'm not doing any shows really. I'm not planning any tours immediately, but I can guarantee you that Colorado is one of the first places on the list of out-of-town shows I'd love to play. I miss Colorado so bad. Like, I'm having Colorado withdrawals. I miss everything about it, from the weather to the people there, all of my friends out there. The horrorcore scene and the underground hip-hop scenes in Colorado are just phenomenal. The love I get out there is just immense, and I'm grateful that, my Colorado family is even asking me to come back. So thank you for your question, Havoc. I appreciate you, man. Next one comes from Suave. And his question is a great question. I almost did a whole fucking episode on this shit. But I also feel like, these fucking Karens and sensitive fucking pussies don't deserve that much attention from me on camera. Moving along, this question comes from Suave, of Suave Swag. And he asks, is cancel culture a necessity? Do we need cancel culture? And what are your opinions on cancel culture? Deep breath, deep breath. So, here's my thing on cancel culture, is that it comes from ignorance, in my opinion. Because most of the quote-unquote cancellations are going towards things that A, aren't relevant anymore, or B, have been resolved, or C, is out of context, or it's hypocritical in the matter of, you're gonna boycott this one thing because it's so evil and so horrendous, yet support something that is the exact same evil. i.e. if you're a horrorcore fan and you want to cancel anyone for any fucking thing, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. Okay? Deal with it. Be offended. People want to cancel Rick and Morty over a skit Dan Harmon did 11 fucking years ago. Mind you, this was a pilot video that never made it to air. It got taken down immediately. They immediately trashed the idea. Was it in bad taste? Absolutely. Was it funny to me? Not at all. It wasn't funny. Am I still gonna watch Rick and Morty? Hell yeah, I am. And I don't really care what anybody has to say about it. And this is why. Because I believe that art comforts the disturbed, and it has the power to disturb the comfortable. And whether or not I agree with Dan Harmon's skit or I laughed at his skit is irrelevant. How I feel about his skit is fucking irrelevant. It's art to some fucking body. Who are any of us to censor that? Especially if you listen to hip-hop music, especially if you listen to metal music, especially if you watch horror movies, because there's so many things I could dig up that were considered over the top. And you motherfuckers support that shit. You're all about it. So my whole point is not that Dan Harmon's video wasn't disgusting. My point is, you can't pick and choose what the fuck to be offended by, and you had a whole decade to be offended by this video. The man has already apologized for it and said it was in bad taste. And the shit has been resolved. At this point, I feel like people are digging up old shit, and the reality is, you motherfuckers are worried about censoring art when children are really being trafficked. Okay? Children are really being abducted and kidnapped and sold. Y'all got the nerve to be offended by a fucking cartoon's creator's fucking pilot skit from 11 years ago? But y'all weren't offended by South Park? Y'all weren't offended by Family Guy? Family Guy has had a literal pedophile character on their roster the entire beginning of the series. Till now. Even in the later... Come on, guys. Really? Really? Fuck cancel culture. That's my opinion of it. Moving on. Gabe asks, what are the biggest bands or acts you've ever opened for? Let's see. And going towards all genres of music that I've played shows in. Mushroom Head, Ill Bill, Cut Calhoun, Twisted, Ritz, Jaron Benton, South Park Coalition. I can't really put any one show before the other or any one act before the other as far as terms of big or whatever, because I was honored to open for everyone I've opened for the most part. Don't get me wrong, there's some shows I've opened up for some total fucking dickheads that I probably never want to work with ever. But I'd say about a strong 90% of bigger name artists I've worked for, I considered it an honor. So I can't really play favorites, but I'd really say I enjoyed the Rich shows that I've played. I enjoyed opening for Lex the Hex Master, Scum, Drive By, Blaze. I could go on. Wilzo asks, what is your opinion on COVID and how well are you and your family surviving due to it? It's a great question. I think that the COVID pandemic is a horrendous tragedy so far, and the death count is unfucking real. You know, I'm definitely not somebody that feels that COVID is fake, because I see friends all around me losing their parents, losing their family members, their cousins, their friends to COVID-19. So I'm definitely not, you know, a conspiracy theorist that feels that it was fake or a hoax, you know. God, you can't be that fucking stupid, can you? But I also feel that despite the isolation or the fact that we can't go do certain everyday things, or the fact that we can't tour, or the fact that I'm unemployed, or the fact that a lot of people are unemployed, or the fact that there are essential workers that are out there slaving their fucking lives away and that's kind of unfair for them, despite all the negative aspects of COVID, I feel like I've developed a lot of good habits while being in isolation. I feel like I've learned to become a better person. I've become a better musician. I'm sitting on 4 albums now, so I've definitely been productive. So I'm thankful to have the opportunity to just stay home and make fucking music. That's a blessing in itself, man. But I definitely miss going back to work. I definitely want to be back at work. I definitely want to get back on the road and get back to doing shows. I miss all of you guys, but I'm chilling at home. You know, it ain't too bad. Next question comes from Good Time Charlie. And he asks, is it easier for you to play to a bigger crowd full of complete strangers or a smaller crowd of people that you know personally? Solid question. I honestly would say the bigger crowds, because the smaller crowds, even though these people know me personally, and they're probably the only people that, like, I would be concerned of their judgments, I feel more at home when I play to smaller crowds. Like, I feel like I'm just chilling with friends, so I'm just playing at a party, you know, so I don't really feel a challenge playing smaller shows, but I enjoy playing smaller shows versus big shows. But I love the high energy of the bigger shows, and I love just the feeling of like the electricity in the fucking air is amazing. But to be honest, I can get that from shows with, you know, 20, 30 people that know me personally. You know, I've had hometown shows that were super small, and they were some of my favorite shows. The energy was definitely still there, so I kind of feel like that's one that I'd have to kind of sleep on to give you an honest answer of if I could pick one over the other, because I don't feel like any of them are easier, but I definitely feel like I enjoy smaller shows more. El Churcho Guapo. Name a big influence besides the fucking Misfits. And would you ever try to do a crossover to another genre? I feel like the world needs to talk about 3-6 Mafia right now. Like, we don't bring up 3-6 enough. And I feel like if you're gonna talk about horrorcore, you're gonna talk about trap music, you're gonna talk about hip hop in general, 3-6 deserves way more credit than they get. DJ Paul especially deserves more credit than he gets. Lord Infamous deserves more credit than he gets. And they're definitely a huge influence on my productions and my mixes. So I just want to take that minute to shout out 3-6, you know. Mafia! And crossovers. Would you ever cross over to another genre? Yeah. I've done quite a bit of that. In fact, on every album, I do at least one metal song, or I'll do one punk rock song, or one kind of like industrial ambient song. But as far as like something completely different, like maybe like a country album, or like, you know, a classical album or something like that, completely instrumental, I wouldn't oppose it, because I feel like as a musician, like, it's fun to explore different styles and different genres of music and different moods. And it's challenging, and I'm up for that challenge. But to answer the question, yeah, I've already bent genres. I've already explored more than one genre of music, and I encourage all artists and musicians to do that. I think, you know, you should always step outside of your comfort zone and try something new. Don't be afraid to try something new. And that concludes all the questions of tonight's Fat Thommy Nekro. If you have any more questions, comments, opinions on any of this, from cancel culture to COVID to my music, even if you just want to get in the comments to talk shit and tell me I'm a terrible person, you know, cool, you know, feel free. And hopefully I don't get canceled by next week. Peace.